Hi guys, it's Mrs. Adams from Kane Middle School, and today we are talking about the Italian Renaissance. This is a really cool period for us whenever it comes to the arts and fine arts, because up to this point we've been stuck in the Middle Ages where the only type of plays we got were church plays. And so now we are getting all kinds of different art and plays and songs. It's a really cool time for us. So it happened in Italy, which is really important to know because Italy was considered to be the cultural center of Europe. And part of this was because the people that were in Italy were quite wealthy, and so they could afford to do things like pay people to write plays for them or pay people to draw works of art for them. This happened during the late 1300s to early 1600s, and the Renaissance, by definition, is a period of cultural advancement and activity. But oftentimes we refer to it as a rebirth of the arts. And the way I remember this is because Renaissance starts with an R-E and so does rebirth. Something really cool about the Renaissance is that we started to have a thing called patronage. And patronage is whenever someone would pay someone else to create something original for them. So merchants would pay artists to create works of art, songs, or plays, and they would get paid for it. And this was really cool because we finally are starting to get professional actors, professional artists, because they could actually make a living doing that. And over here is probably the most famous Renaissance painting, and that's the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. I just wanted to show you how they're really starting to focus on, drawing in a realistic type way, because we're about to talk about subject matter. So the subject matter changed from religion to humanism. And humanism is kind of a philosophy that all people should strive to be educated in the classical arts, literature, and science. And they were really, really big on realism. They wanted everything to look as real as it possibly could. They wanted there to be a lot of human emotion in their art. They wanted it to be like if you went and saw a play, like you were actually seeing a glimpse of real life. So they called this realism, they called it verisimilitude, and verisimilitude literally translates to being true to life. And the way that I remember that word, because it's really hard, is verisimilitude kind of sounds like very similar to, and I think about it being very similar to real life. So we start to have changes in the style of things that are going on because we've now gone from religion to humanism. So we like things that look realistic, which leads us to perspective painting. And perspective painting is whenever the backdrops of plays started to have the illusion of depth, kind of like how they would look like a three-dimensional set instead of just a really flat set. And they use this for backdrops. And in the 1600s, you can see the architects began to design proscenium arches. And if you don't know what a proscenium arch is, it's just the front of a stage. It's kind of this picture frame that goes in front of a stage. It just makes it look a little bit more decorative, draws the eye, and we still have proscenium arches today. So that's something that's really neat that we've kept. We've kept both of these things since the Italian Renaissance. Okay, and I wanted to show y'all a quick video about perspective painting because I think it's pretty funny. Let me just move myself over here.
Meep, meep. Meep, meep.
So this right here is an example of perspective painting. He drew a backdrop that makes it look like it's three-dimensional. Obviously it wasn't really three-dimensional, but somehow the Roadrunner made it through there. So that is the end of our Italian Renaissance notes for today, and I will see you soon. Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Adams from Kane Middle School, and today we are talking about Commedia dell'arte, which translates to comedy of art. And if you can't guess by the way that this is pronounced, it is from Italy, Commedia dell'arte, and it was a major art form during the Italian Renaissance. Okay, so a few things that we need to know before we start talking about the main part, which is the characters of Commedia dell'arte. So it was happening between the 14th and 18th century. They would decide on what they wanted their plot to be about, but they wouldn't write down any of their lines. They would use improvisation or improv, which means that they would make up their lines on the spot, which was really cool. So every time you went to go see one of their plays, it looked different. They had stock characters, and stock characters are characters that had fixed attributes and costumes. I like to think of them as being in stock, like whenever you go to the grocery store and there's milk in stock, it means that it's there. So stock characters were characters that were in pretty much every single play. They played all of the same characters in every show, but the storylines would change. Lazzi, okay, it kind of rhymes with Yahtzee, Lazzi, were comic bits of action because they were really into slapstick comedy. It's actually where we get the term slapstick is through Commedia dell'arte. There was a character named Arlecchino who would carry a slapstick and then people would just beat him with it. And it was really funny to the audience. And so that's where we get the term slapstick comedy, if you've ever heard that. The venue for Commedia dell'arte was very simple, very minimalistic, not a whole lot of sets, temporary stages that they could move from place to place, lots of props, and they used a lot of pantomime as well. So now we're going to talk about stock characters. I love talking about the stock characters because they remind me of modern characters that we see still today in like books and plays and movies. So as we work through these stock characters, hopefully you'll be thinking of characters that remind you of these people. So the first stock characters we're going to talk about are called the innamorati, in amor, or in amo, okay, in amor, they are the lovers, innamorati. They are fashionable, they don't wear masks, they speak very eloquently, meaning they speak beautifully to each other. They're like, oh, your eyes are like the sunset. That's the type of speaking they're doing. They're generally high class and quite wealthy, so they come from money. Just move myself. The male character, he is called the innamorato, and the female character is called the innamorata. So together they form the innamorati. And pretty much the goal of the innamorati is that by the end of the show, they should have fallen in love. They should be back together. Pretty much it's a happy ending all the time for the innamorati. Our next character is called the pantalone, the miserly money grabber. So he's normally an elderly merchant. He's kind of an old guy, and he usually has a beautiful daughter, and that's often the innamorata. He's normally her dad. He loves money more than anything or anyone. He's very greedy. Like, if you paid him enough money, he would sell his daughter to you. Okay, money is his first priority. He always hits on young, beautiful women, and then he gets rejected. Generally, he tries to keep the innamorati, the lovers, apart from each other until it benefits him in some way. His costume, as you can see, he wears a red vest with red stockings. He has a long black coat, a soft hat that kind of reminds you of like a beanie, a brown mask with a big crooked nose and normally like a scraggly gray beard. And he normally carries a coin purse, so you can almost hear him whenever he enters the stage. He kind of jingles whenever he walks, and it just goes further to explain, you know, how he's obsessed with money. He always has to have it on him. Arlecchino, the village idiot. This is typically everyone's favorite character. Sometimes you might hear of him referred to as the Harlequin, and he is called a servant character or a Zani. Zani is, you know, the Italian, you know, commedia way of saying servant, and the Zani are normally really funny. He's kind of the comedic relief character. He's mischievous, yet foolish. He loves to prank people. He's acrobatic. He can do lots of, like, he can jump really high. He can do flips. He's always doing really funny stuff, like jumping into a trash can. His costume, as you can see, is like a bunch of different colors, normally red, blue, and green diamonds, and he wears a hat with a big mask over his face. And he carries, you can see in this picture, a wooden stick, and that is called the slapstick. And that is what he normally gets hit with. The pantalone is always on him, like trying to hit him with this thing. It's just a bit of the fun, the Lotzi of Commedia dell'arte. Our next character, you might notice that she looks kind of similar to the Arlecchino, for good reason. So she is called Columbina. She is the confidant. Confidant comes from like the word to confide, like to tell secrets, to tell information to. She's typically the innamorata's servant or best friend who knows all of the innamorata's secrets, and that's why she's the confidant. She is a little bit tricky, and she loves to gossip, and the reason why she's dressed so similar to Arlecchino is because she's normally his love interest. They're normally like kind of a sub-love story. Sometimes she's into him, sometimes he's into her, sometimes they're into each other. So her costume is like the female version of the Arlecchino. Our next character is called Brighella. He is the greedy innkeeper. Okay, he's cynical and witty. He's the smarter friend of Arlecchino. He normally has a middle-class job, such as an innkeeper or a tavern owner, and he loves to scheme. He's always trying to think of tricks with Arlecchino, especially if he thinks he might be able to get some money out of it. He is a fantastic liar. He will lie about anything to anyone as long as it's going to benefit him in some way. And you can see by his costume, he wears a mask with a hooked nose. He has this matching outfit that's normally white and has green, like ornamental, like green braid on it. And so he's normally seen with the Arlecchino character. Il Capitano, the cowardly captain. He is bold and swaggering, but he is truly a coward. He's not brave at all. He likes to make up stories that make him seem like he was the hero. Like he's the type of person that's like, oh yeah, and I was surrounded by like 6 men and I fought them off with my bare hands. He loves anything that makes him seem better than he is. He has absolutely no loyalty to anyone. If he was in a war, he would go with whichever side he thought was going to win. His loyalty is pretty much to just staying alive and getting what he wants. He's opportunistic, meaning that if presented with an opportunity, he's going to take it. Like, let's say the Pantalone wanted him to guard his daughter, the Innamorata. The cowardly captain would absolutely try to woo her. He would try to like make a play for her. So that's something that's typical. He normally is pretty interested in the Innamorata. He wants to make her his. Il Dottore, the fraudulent doctor. If you notice, like, Dottore kind of looks like doctor if you just took out the C. Okay, il dottore, the fraudulent doctor. He is an old man. He is normally Pantalone's friend or rival, and sometimes he's actually both, like a frenemy. He is Pantalone's frenemy. He loves to show off how smart he is. Okay, no one in the room can be smarter than him. He's the person where if he thinks he's right and you're wrong, then he would be Googling to make sure that his answer is correct. He is very pompous and excessively proud. He just thinks that he is the greatest thing ever. But because of that, he gets tricked a lot because he thinks he's too smart to be tricked. And so he often doesn't realize he's being tricked. Generally, he is kind of an obstacle for the innamorati to getting together. Like he's someone who wants to try to keep them apart for some reason. And his costume is pretty much all black. He's got some white. At the time, this was like the academic cap and gown. So that was to show that he's so smart. Everyone should think he's so smart. So as we went through these characters, I hope that they reminded you of characters from modern day shows, movies, or books, because that is what our assignment is going to be about very soon. So I'll be back to explain that to you. Bye. Hi guys. Okay, I hope you're ready to talk about our project. So this is called the Commedia dell'arte character project. And so all you really need is your Chromebook, Google Slides, and your Commedia stock character notes that we just went over. So you will find modern characters that closely fit this description of the stock characters. They don't all have to be from the same book, movie, show, play, etc. They can be from lots of different things. The characters don't have to match every description of the stock character, but they should match at least 2 to 3. It should have been characters that kind of popped into your brain as we were going through the notes. So you will create a Google Slides presentation with 9 slides. Slide 1 is your title slide, where you will write your full name and your class period. Slide 2, you will focus on the innamorato. Slide 3, the innamorata. Slide 4, the pantalone. Slide 5, Arlecchino. Slide 6, Columbina. Slide 7, Brighella. Slide 8, the Il Capitano. And slide 9, Il Dottore. So on each Google slide, you are going to write the name of your Commedia character with their descriptor. For example, you would write Pantalone, the miserly money grabber. And then you will write the name of your modern character. Then you will copy and paste a picture of your chosen modern character and describe at least 2 reasons why your modern character is similar to the Commedia character. You're going to do this for every single stock character. And again, they do not have to be from the same movie, book, play. You could have one character that is from Harry Potter and one character that's from SpongeBob and one character from like Percy Jackson. Okay, wherever you want to get these characters from, it's totally fine. So here's an example of what it's going to look like. So you're going to have one of these for every single character. So Arlecchino, the village idiot, I chose Bart Simpson. And the reasons I chose Bart Simpson is because he is not book smart. He is constantly coming up with tricky plans. He is an acrobat because he does difficult tricks with his skateboard. And the colors he wears are similar to Arlecchino because those colors were like red and blue and green. And then I copied and pasted a little picture of Bart Simpson over here so you could see who I was talking about. So that's what you're going to be doing. Now, I can feel y'all through the screen going, but I'm not really familiar with Google Slides and I don't know how to copy and paste and all that stuff. Don't worry, y'all. I am here to help you with that on the next video. Okay, so I know some of y'all probably just want to see an example of the assignment, and some of y'all might be freaking out because you're not really sure how to use Google Slides. So I'm going to take care of both of those things by showing you how to do those simultaneously. Now, if you feel really comfortable with this assignment or really comfortable with Google Slides, you can skip through this video. But if not, definitely hang around because I'm going to try to show you to the best of my ability. So our first step needs to be that we go up to the search bar and we are going to type in Google Drive, enter. And this will pull up, and I'm just going to click right here. It says Google Drive. And it will probably make you log in. I'm already logged in, so I don't have to worry about that, but you'll probably have to log in. I'm going to click this New button right here, New. And as soon as my internet cooperates, it will give me the option for Google Slides. So I'm going to click that. And ta-da, we have a brand new Google slideshow. Now the awesome thing about Google Slides is that it saves automatically, so you don't have to worry about saving all the time. So I'm just going to let my internet catch up with me. All right, so here we have an untitled presentation. I get rid of this themes button over here because I don't need it. I don't use it, so I'm just going to close out of it. And we are going to title our presentation by coming up to the top, and we are going to click on it. And I'm going to title it my name. And then I'm going to title it COMMEDIA, just so I know what it is whenever I go look for it later. All right, so our directions say that we need a title slide that has our name and class period on it. So that's what I'm going to do. Meg Adams, class 1. Let's just say I'm in first period. All right, and if you want to make that look more beautiful, by all means, make it look more beautiful, but you don't have to, okay? Now, we need a total of 9 slides, and we have our first slide done, so we need to add 8 more. Up here, there's a little plus sign, and we are going to hit that plus sign 8 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. To give us all 8 more of our slides that we need. Now, if I like the layout, which I do, I like this layout, I will just leave it. If I don't, I can come over to the slide and I can right click it. And I can go down to apply layout and I can change the way it looks. But like I said, I really just like this layout. I think it works well for this assignment, so I'm just going to use it as is. What I like to do first is I like to title each slide with what it's supposed to have on it. So this one is supposed to have the innamorato, the male lover. Slide 3 is supposed to be the innamorata, the female lover. Slide 4 is Pantalone, the miserly money grabber. So I would do this for every single one of my slides, but for right now, I'm just going to do it for these first 3 to give you an idea of how to do things. All right, so I am going to show you how to do this, and we're going to use Pantalone as the example. So I need a character that reminds me of Pantalone. So I'm going to look back at my notes. And the things that Pantalone is, he's an elderly merchant. He usually has a beautiful daughter, often the innamorata. He loves money more than anything or anyone. He's very greedy. He hits on young, beautiful women and always gets rejected. He generally tries to keep the innamorati apart in some way. His costume is mostly red with a black coat, and he carries a coin purse on his costume. So I need to find a modern character from a book, a movie, a play, a show that reminds me of this, and I know just the perfect example. And you cannot use this example, okay? This is the one that you cannot use. And I've decided that my example is going to be Mr. Krabs. I'm going to double check my spelling if it's Mr. Krabs with a C or with a K. Okay, it's with a K. Mr. Krabs. Now, I can make this as big as I want, as small as I want, and it's really simple. I'm just going to highlight it, and I can come up here and press this plus sign to make it bigger. I can make it bold. I can underline it if I want to. I can change the font. And as soon as I have what I want, then I can move on to my next part. So let's say I want this font. Oh, and I don't like that gray color. I want it to be all the way black. So over here, this little A, if I click on that, I can change the font color. Mr. Krabs. Great. And now I need at least a minimum of 2 reasons why Mr. Krabs reminds me of Pantalone. So I'm going to click this little bullet list. And I don't want this to be bold or underlined. Okay, so my first reason I think Mr. Krabs is like the Pantalone is because he is red, just like Pantalone's costume. My second reason is he is obsessed with money. My third reason is he has a daughter. Okay, he's got a whale daughter. Let's see, what else? He's elderly, so he's an older male character. So these are my reasons why I think Mr. Krabs is really similar to Pantalone. And now what I need to do is I want to add a picture of him. So I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to type in Mr. Krabs, and I'm going to click Images. And I'm going to select whatever picture I want. So I'm just going to do this first one. I'm going to right-click on it, and then I'm going to go down to Copy Image. Then I go back to my Google Slides, and I right-click and click Paste. So you're copying and pasting. Oh man, it's in the middle of my slides, so what should I do? I'm going to grab this drawing, this picture, and I'm going to put it over here where it's a little bit easier for me to see my writing and him. Now, if I want him to be a little bit bigger, I can click and I can pull the picture. If I want him to be taller, I can pull him up this way. It kind of changes the way he looks. But I think I need him a little smaller so that I can see everything. I'm going to put him right there. And this is all you need to do. It's got all of our information. Pantalone, the miserly money grabber. Mr. Krabs. We've got 4 reasons why he's similar to that stock character. And a picture. And so you're going to do this for every character that's listed. And so these do not all have to be from the same movie or book or play or show. They can all be from different ones. If you want to challenge yourself a little bit, you could try to make them all from the same one, but that can be a little difficult because not every modern movie has these stock characters. But I hope that was helpful. I hope that you saw that you can just copy and paste a picture into slides, how easy it is to change the font size, okay? A lot of Google Slides is just playing around with it, okay? So if you feel confused, of course, reach out to us, but also, just play around with it. I'm sure you'll figure things out pretty quickly. Okay, that's it. Bye.